Blundstones, thanks for asking. They're amazing. First couple of times I wore them, I mean, they're boots, you know? You got to break them in. Well, I broke them in, and now they're like, they're waterproof. They're tough, but they also feel like a slipper. Like when you slide them on, it doesn't feel like you're wearing like a Timberland hard boot or anything like that. It feels like it's molded to your foot. Feels amazing. I'm not sponsored. They don't have to sponsor. Everyone's buying them without any kind of kickback here. Anyway, they're good. They're good. They're good shoes, Bron. Am I the asshole for asking my friend to move a picture of him and his wife because it made my wife uncomfortable? Me and my wife, Dahlia, lost our apartment 2 months ago and moved in with mom. Okay? Issues began to arise with Dahlia and mom, and I had to ask my friend to let us move in till I get enough money to rent out. His wife was away visiting family and he agreed, but even there, some issues started to arise. I just want to say I wonder what the common element is here. FYI, Dahlia's very shy around Anthony. She grew up in conservative home, and so it's understandable, but sometimes it can be a bit much. I admit that. I admit that. For example, she freaked out when she accidentally drank from his glass. She also made a fuss when he passed by the guest room when she was lying down and the door was open. Thankfully, Anthony was super understanding and we were able to talk some of these issues out. Let me say the obvious. Close the door. And don't steal his glass, and then it sounds like you don't have anything to worry about. Last night, Dahlia was passing the hall and noticed a framed picture of Anthony and his wife kissing hanging in the hall. She told me about it and said it made her uncomfortable. She asked if I could speak to Anthony about it, but he didn't take it well. He gave me a look when I spoke to him and said this was bonkers because, first of all, his wife put it there. Second of all, the picture holds sentimental meaning to him and his wife, and argued that it wasn't an explicit photo, just a normal wedding kiss. We started arguing, and he said that it wasn't like it was hanging in the living room wall, which would also be perfectly fine, or a perfectly lit room. I asked him to be a little more considerate because it's not like I asked him to remove it completely, just move it elsewhere that Dahlia won't reach, or keep it off the wall till we leave. He said he was sorry, but he refused. I explained how Dahlia was feeling. Listen, I feel for the guy, like the OP in this post, because he's doing a great job of explaining his feelings, but he's missing the next element, which is just because you explain how something makes you feel doesn't mean you're right. Or doesn't mean that the other person has an obligation to like do something unreasonable in order to cause those feelings to go away. You're doing a fantastic job of communicating your wants and desires. You're just failing to recognize that the wants and desires are insane. He said he was sorry, but he would not move the picture. We argued some more. He said it's his house, and I was being pushy and kind of too comfortable to make such demands and be pushy still. This morning, Dahlia refused to even come out of the room until the picture is moved. Anthony's refusing, which makes it worse. Now I feel like I'm getting stuck between a rock and a hard place. Yes, she might just be overreacting, but I feel like this isn't such a big ask for Anthony to decline. Sorry, I need to scroll. For Anthony to decline and turn down. For what it's worth, if it were me, I'd go the extra mile to make sure my guests are comfortable. Yeah, well, it's not you, and you lost your apartment. So, like, I'm not trying to drop an own on you or whatever. I'm not trying to simply burn you, but, like, you're the guest. I mean, it's like a beggars can't be choosers at its base principles right here. Anthony has been a friend of mine for 10 years. I wouldn't have asked to move in with him if I didn't have such a strong bond with him. He himself constantly talks about all the things and situations I helped him out with, and we are considered brothers. Well, it's like you're just, like, your wife is, no, I don't say this to be glib. Your wife is, like, a little crazy. Like, what's the problem? I mean, and also, can I tell you, I feel like the host-guest thing, I feel like it goes both ways. Both the host and the guest are supposed to be magnanimous, not just the host. The host has an obligation to be like, let me know if I can get you anything, if I can make your life easier, you need an extra blanket, you need an extra pillow, eat some food out of my fridge, you need a drink, whatever. But the guest also, anytime I've been a guest, especially like if I'm staying in a friend's house for a couple days, I do my best to like use the bathroom as little as possible. which is insane. But that's my version of magnanimous. That's my version of being a nice guy. Is like, listen, I'm not gonna take like a recreational poop in your toilet. I'll do if I have to go, then I'm gonna go, because I'm not crazy. But I'm not gonna if it's like I could go, but I could also just wait an hour and then I'd be home. Then I'll wait an hour, because that's what being a good guest is all about, I think. Hey Tomo, do you want to leave, buddy? He got freaked out by the fire alarm, I think. Anyway, I mean, I don't even know what I'm going to be looking for in the comments here. It's obviously insane to go into somebody's house and be offended by a photo of them kissing their spouse. I don't know. It sounds like your wife needs to. So I'm not a psychiatrist. It doesn't sound like your wife needs therapy. It sounds like she needs to she needs to do like a 30-day like intensive retreat of therapy, and maybe then do like therapy like once a week for the rest of her life. She needs like a therapy like boot camp, and then like the 30-day grass touching session. Sure, if you want to put it that way. Learn some yoga and meditate. Well, I mean, like, just don't be so weird. Why are you so weird? I mean, I guess it's not like that easy to be like normal, but it's like but like it's easy. Okay, maybe it's not, okay? But I'm saying like I feel like it's easy to not be this weird. Like, can't you just like, you could be weird but not act weird in your friend's house when he let you stay with him? You know what I mean? Like, you can have weird thoughts, you can have weird behaviors in private, but then like to be like, you have to know at what, she's 28, you got to know that this is like not an acceptable ask for somebody who's letting you stay in their house. Like, what are you trying to like terraform this guy's house and turn it into your house? Like, it doesn't make any sense. It does feel like there's something missing here. Anyway, you're the asshole and so is your wife. You're in their home. I will say, by the way, people might think that this is like rude to call the husband the asshole, but he is the asshole. Like, he's society's first line of defense against his wife. I know how that sounds, but at the same time, like, he's got and it works both ways. My wife is society's first line of defense against me. When I get annoyed by something and I'm like, you know what, I'm never going to go back to that store ever again. She's like, why are you acting like a weirdo? And I'm like, I don't know, good point. And then I like chill out a little bit. So you have an obligation to yourselves and each other, but also the world, to like keep each other in line. Not just to be like, oh, you want me to ask my friend something insane? Like, you at least got to push back a little bit. You got to be like, I'm not going to do that. That's crazy. And then you got to take the bullet of like having the argument. And then if she's still like, well, I'm not going to compromise, then you're like, all right, I guess I'm going to go ask my friend this insane thing and then relay to her what I already told her was going to happen. But so he's got to at least, I'm not saying he has to stop her, but he has to at least try. Seems like he's letting her run like buck wild with insane requests. This is too much. You can do this in your own house. You are guests in their home because you are currently homeless. Your wife is the problem here. Get a grip. You're the asshole. Also, like, your wife couldn't handle living with, I don't know how long she lived with his mom, but like, hey Tomo, hey buddy. Colorectal surgeon? Yeah, I don't know how that happens. I don't know how you get that tag, but I gotta send him a DM real quick. I just don't, like, if your own mom is like, you can't stay with us anymore because your wife is a little too crazy, you're like, I think that's a bad sign. I just don't know why you're being so weird about it. There's not that much to mine here, I think, but I just like, I need some more info. Like, does your wife go to the movies? What's your wife's favorite movie? Obviously, it's not going to have even a single kiss in it. I have to imagine she's not okay with cussing. Is it God's Not Dead 3? I just need to know. Probably VeggieTales. Dude, don't drag VeggieTales into this, okay? There's nothing wrong with VeggieTales. You're right, it's Apocalypto. I just love the way Mel Gibson, the way he makes the camera float. So true. Great reference. Hold on. Someone said read the Girls' Night one next. I'm just looking, okay? I'm looking to see if it's sad or if it's funny. Because if it, or both. I don't think this is funny. I think this is just sad. Quite frankly. I can't read that one. Just seems like a sad guy. Am I the asshole for returning my husband's birthday gift to pay for the birthday cake my daughter baked after he refused to pay her? You know, again, I have not read this yet. But one thing that comes up all the time in React Court is, why do people make their lives so complicated? How much could a birthday cake possibly cost? Like, and I'm going a high end here. Well, I don't know. Maybe if it was a Cake Boss type thing, it could be more money. But like, even if it's like $50, you're gonna let your family have a dispute over $50 as an adult? But you know what? I could be wrong, because apparently they're the asshole. So never mind. maybe be careful what you wish for. Basically, the title. My daughter has a thing for baking. She bakes cakes and some. I said, not all. I said some, not all sweets. My daughter has a thing for baking. She bakes cakes and some. I said some, not all sweets. I guess she's worried that people are going to read this and they're going to be like, hey, can you make me like a Napoleon? I don't understand the caveat, but anyway. And makes money out of it by selling her work to relatives, friends, and supposedly us. Absolute nightmare first sentence where I don't really... So, okay, basically the title, my daughter bakes and sells her food to relatives. And maybe us. My husband's, her stepdad, 45th birthday took place days ago. He asked my daughter to bake him the birthday cake, and she agreed. I told him about paying her, to which he responded with, pay her, get out of here. I'm her dad. I insisted she's a yes person and a people pleaser, so won't outright demand the money from him. He said he'd pay, but days went by and he didn't pay her a cent. I decided to go ahead and sell the wristwatch I bought him as his birthday cake and pay her for her. Okay, hold on. I'll write it. You can't be trusted to write it, okay? I'm running this shit through the linter. I decided to go ahead and sell the wristwatch I bought him as his birthday gift and then use that money to pay her. He found out and went off on me. I told him he had enough time and should have paid her even before he received the cake. He said I was teaching her to treat familial relationships as transactional and making her be materialistic. This is so hard to read. I explained the time, effort, and money she put towards making the cake, but he lashed out verbally, calling me an asshole for making this move and for enabling my daughter to expect so much from family that she's supposed to help with nothing in return. He's furious and told almost the whole family about how I took back his birthday gift and returned it. I got enough shame from family members to begin to think that I might be an asshole for how I dealt with this. Am I the asshole y'all my daughter did want and expect to be paid. If she intended for it to be free, then I would have kept my mouth shut. Also, the wristwatch isn't expensive. I kept the rest of the money after giving my daughter her share. It's just kind of crazy. I mean, okay, I'm digesting a little bit here, okay? If he is I hate to say it, okay? I got to see a photo of the cake. Cuz if this is some cake boss shit and it's like 3 towers and it's got fondant and it looks like Grogu or something like that, then that makes sense to me that he should at least pay for the ingredients. That's like I don't think he should have to pay parts and labor for a birthday cake. I don't think it's necessarily like a bad thing to, allow your daughter to kind of treat it like a business. It's his birthday though. Yeah, when you buy a cake like from the grocery store on your birthday, you don't go, "Hey, can I get that birthday cake?" And they're like, "Sure, that'll be $19.99." And you're like, it's my birthday." So I think that'll actually be on the house. The birthday cake business would not be doing so hot if everybody got free cakes on their birthday. From your own family? Yeah, but she's 16. Like, I mean, we're getting lost in the weeds here. I think that as a 16-year-old, we don't know if she has like an actual job. Is she supposed to sell sweets to buy the food to make her stepdad a birthday cake, like out of her own pocket? I feel like he could have offered to, at the very least, bought the ingredients. You don't have to pay her like, $20 an hour or something like that to make the cake in the first place. But you should have bought like the eggs and the flour, I think, at the very least. Anyway, but then like that notwithstanding, I mean, there's just a lot of this that's like strange to me. Look, how much was this wristwatch? Let's assume she bought him a $100 watch. She sold the watch or returned it to the watch store, paid her daughter like maybe $20, maybe $50, pocketed the other 50. It's just weird to me. Like, I know that there's probably like an easy answer for this, okay? Why didn't she just pay her daughter like the $20 and then give her husband the watch? Like, you're in this. Why does the burden of paying for the birthday cake exclusively fall to the stepfather? That doesn't make sense. Like, you're 45 years old. You don't do things as a team? The poster has a minus 1800 comment in this thread. Oh my God. Oh no. It's just weird. I mean, this is just a very, it happens a lot in React Court. It's a very weird situation. Like, why do this to yourself? I say on this one, my verdict is GSRP, you got to get some real problems. Because I do believe, and I think that this is one of the curses of humanity. I think that mankind is wired to always seek conflict in order to have something to overcome. This seems like a situation where the situation could have been very amenable if you just produced a $20 bill, gave it to your daughter, and then now you could have avoided a fight with your husband. You would have avoided a fight between your husband and your daughter. It would have been completely okay. But instead, maybe you didn't have any. Maybe you were bored, and you're like, let's throw a nail bomb into the family just to define our October or whatever. So anyway, it just seems like this is not, as a middle-aged adult, you have to like be smarter than this if you want to enjoy your life as much as possible, in my opinion. If this is the kind of thing that can blow up in your family's face, you got to learn that an ounce of prevention is worth a pound of cure. Like, yeah, you're right, the daughter was just chilling. She's just making a cake. Now she got dragged into this. She's the third person into a fight that doesn't involve her at all. Like, it's madness. It's just weird. Info, did he think the cake was her gift to him? Who pays for the supplies? Do you pay for your own birthday cake? I find it strange that you'd make him pay for his own birthday cake rather than pay for it yourself. Who asked someone to pay for their own birthday cake? You're the asshole. Edit. Daughter doesn't pay for supplies. OP does. Okay. Who asked? I asked, I guess. I've never in my life heard of a person expecting to get paid for making a close relative's birthday cake. I mean, if your daughter owned a bakery and your husband went in and put it in an order, then yes. And seriously, as his wife, it would be normal that you provide the birthday cake, whether you make it yourself or buy one at the local bakery. That is true. I agree, this is weird. I mean, that's true. A 16-year-old making you a birthday cake is a more than acceptable gift from your 16-year-old child. It's better than getting like a $50 Amazon gift card or something like that. It doesn't need to be transactional. The transaction is already like implied. This is one of the most bizarre posts I've ever seen. I'm not going to call anyone an asshole because I think you're in the wrong subreddit, buddy. You are in the wrong subreddit. I think a lot of this comes down to gory details about time frames and who directly asked what of whom. But this is an extremely strange thing to litigate this hard. Who expects a family member to pay them for a birthday cake on their birthday? Who wages a proxy war about it on behalf of someone who apparently doesn't want payment enough to advocate for it themselves? And then returns a present as revenge instead of just reminding him? But also, who puts their wife on blast to the entire family over a birthday present? I diagnose you all with weird and petty disease. Your sentence is to drink a glass of water and count to 10. Okay, honestly, the rare Reddit post that I'm like, that's actually pretty funny in my opinion. I could see myself saying that. It just doesn't seem like they should have, it shouldn't blow up in their face this much. Hold on, I'm finding the comment. Info, have you talked to your daughter? Did she want to be paid? Yes, of course she did. She said it herself, but did not say it to him directly. Minus 1,800. I mean, that's like, that comment is not that insane. It's just a conduit for people who disagree with her, which is fair because what she's saying is crazy. But anyway. I diagnose you weird. Weird. Am I the asshole for refusing to take down a video of my kid's father dancing at my brother's wedding? My children's dad and I got separated and divorced 2 years ago. We're on good terms regarding co-parenting, and since he's close to my brother had invited him to his wedding. Perfectly okay with me since the kids were thrilled to get extra time with their dad. I was taking a video of mom and my kids at the wedding and posted it on my Insta. Hours later, I get a call from my ex yelling about my camera catching him dancing drunkenly in the background. I said, so what? He tells me he's getting engaged to his conservative girlfriend soon, and if her or her conservative family saw him in the video, then there's going to be trouble. I thought that was silly. He demanded I take it down, but I declined. He insisted, saying he was technically recorded via my camera and he did not consent. I called him ridiculous and confused to take it down. He's gotten the kids involved now, which got me mad and made the argument escalate. Mom is saying I should take it down, but I feel like he's trying to control my social media activity. Am I the asshole for refusing? He said that his girlfriend can and will see it via the kids since they're with me on social media. Why wouldn't you just take it down? I don't understand. Why would she? Because she posted a video that he's in that he's not comfortable with being on the internet? Can't you just crop it? Like it's 2022. I mean, she can be mad. She can think it's like unreasonable, but current poll, well, everyone gets drunk at weddings. Yeah, but like, I just don't understand. Like, it almost doesn't matter what the video is of. Like, if they have a problem with it, they should take it down. I don't understand the. I just don't understand why she wouldn't take it down. I agree, by the way. I think he's being like overly anal about it. But at the same time, like, you know, I mean, I feel like it's probably not an absolute situation. Like, I'm sure there's some situations where you would be like, I'm not taking this down just out of principle. This one just seems like you should just take it down for sure. Like, and this is the potential problem with social media, right? It's like, hey, I was just enjoying myself at a wedding. Now the video's online. My spouse saw it. She thinks that I'm sloppy. She's lost respect for me. My boss saw it, and now I'm gonna be passed over for a promotion at work because they think I can't be trusted or something. Like, it's just there should be a right to like more privacy than this. He's in the background? Well, yeah, but he's in the video. I don't understand the problem. People need to get over being recorded. I don't know. I mean, like, I get that it's getting worse, but I don't necessarily think it should be normalized that, like, I mean, personally, I don't really, well, I don't know. I'm trying to figure out where to approach this one from. I don't think you should have an expectation that you're not going to be filmed. Like, I think you should be on acceptable behavior pretty much anywhere, just in principle. Like, not just because you think you might be being recorded, but at the same time, like, it is annoying. Like, sometimes it might be, maybe it's a generational thing, but like, you ever go out to karaoke and then like you start singing a song at karaoke and somebody pulls out their phone and starts filming it? You're like, well, if it's my wife, I'm like, I'm not going to say anything. But if it's just like a friend that's at karaoke, I'm like, yo, can you put your phone away? Like, I thought we were all having like just a night out here where we could like have some fun and we could keep this stuff like in memory. We don't necessarily need to be like, oh, film this. Look, I'm at karaoke. Post it to like my 7 Instagram followers so that like 2 of them can click the heart button and be like, so fun. Like, I don't understand. Like, I think you could, if you're at karaoke and you film yourself dancing or someone films you dancing or something like that, and then you post it on your Instagram, that's not a big deal. But like, as soon as you start catching random people that might not want that stuff to be posted, I find that, I mean, I'm not saying that, I mean, here's what I think the situation should do. Here's what I think the situation should be. I think you should be able to post it without asking permission from everybody in the venue. But I do think if somebody happened to be recorded in the video is like, oh, I don't want that to be posted on social media, you should be like, understandable. I'll take it down and edit it. That seems like the way, the normal loop of behavior. Every wedding is filmed. Yeah, but like most, again, maybe it's generational, but like weddings were filmed, 20 years ago. The video was like trotted out at family gatherings, and like 10 family members would see the video once at Christmas, and, blah, blah, blah. Now it's like, hey, check out this wedding that I'm at and look at this asshole in the background. Either way, I just generally, just if you want to be not the asshole, then I think if somebody is like, hey, I'm in your video, could you take it down and edit me out? Then not being the asshole means you have to say, yes, okay, no problem. You probably, I don't know if you have a legal right to keep it up, or a legal to keep it up if you want to, I should say. But like to be a nice person, then yeah, you gotta take it down. Hi, Tomo. Do you want to leave? There you go, buddy. Anyway, listen, I'm not even getting into the idea that like she's only doing it because she resents him or something. Maybe there's a chance of that. Even I think we're getting into like this is too legal. I know that some people, they like to live their lives according to the Illinois appellate court, but regardless of the law, which is a dangerous sentence to say, I feel like even if you're within your legal rights to like post a video, if someone that you have to interact with like every weekend for the rest of your lives is like, hey, I'm uncomfortable with that being posted, you just take that shit down and then you like complain in your group chat. You go, I can't believe that asshole wanted me to take the video down. And then no matter how the people in the group chat feel about it, because some of them might agree with him, the people in the group chat go, oh, I know, it's unreasonable. I mean, come on, it's a wedding. Just lighten up a little bit. That's the way that you have to communicate and behave in the real world. Pardon me. Anyway. Yeah, plus what about GDPR? I don't really know what GDPR is, but I feel like this is a GDPR issue. I feel like he did not accept all the cookies, okay? Ask yourself this, is this silly video worth destroying your co-parenting relationship with him? Because he is absolutely right to demand you take it down if he's featured in it. No one says you have to delete it off your phone so the memory isn't gone, but it's petty of you to insist it should remain online. Based Redditor received Reddit shooting star and golden updude for this post. He's not taking responsibility for his actions, though. I mean, he didn't do anything wrong. He just doesn't want it to be in public. Nothing wrong with getting a little too drunk at a wedding and dancing, but like you might not want it to be filmed. If you're swimming in a pool, you might not have a reasonable expectation of privacy, but if someone took a video and was like, check out this dude's midsection, you might be like, hey, I'm uncomfortable with that. Can you take that shit down? You just put like a Gaussian blur on him or something like that. You're not expecting to be filmed at a pool? Why not? It's a public pool. There's no expectation of privacy. I just don't understand why she wouldn't solve the problem by taking the video down. She doesn't even have to edit it and like repost it. She could just have the video on her phone. She's probably got like 6 followers on Instagram anyway. She could just get like a big brunch going and show more people like literally on her device. I don't understand. It seems like she wants to fight. Everybody sucks here. He had no expectation of privacy at a wedding where between guests and a hired photographer, cameras are all over the place. On the other hand, it's one video. Would it really be so terrible for you to remove it or make it private? I think this is a great response. Ignore this part. Because honestly, I mean, again, I'm not sure if this makes any rhetorical sense. It's none of our business what his relationship with his spouse is, I think. I think that's like, or his fiance. I think that's literally like we're getting into hearsay. It's like 2 arms length away from the situation. The situation is pretty much regardless of the reason. If he doesn't want that video of him being filmed to be on there, it would be a nice thing to do to take it down. Like, I think the catch is if there was like a road rage incident and you caught it on dash cam, and then the person who did the road rage was like, "Can you take that video down? It's embarrassing." I would be like, "Absolutely not. Like, this is evidence." But like the fact that he doesn't want his fiance to see that he was a little sloppy at the wedding is like it doesn't seem like that's information that we should have access to. Like you've declared a public VAR that should be private. I don't. It's you're not. We have more access to more data than is relevant in order to make the actual judgment here. You're the asshole. I don't think he needs a reason. If someone asks you to take down a pic or video, you should, unless you have a good reason to keep it up. I honestly, I felt like I was so, by the way, Kitty Exorcism, thanks for the gifted subscriptions. Thank you. Thank you. I felt like I was crazy. Everybody was like, they have no legal right to privacy. Then I scroll down and but you realize this is a situation where Reddit is like more normal than Twitch? I can't believe it. Or you're as weird as the average Redditor? I think Reddit's right in this situation, honestly. It's a scary thought, but you put me on Reddit or Twitch, then I am I guess I'm on Reddit for this one. I hate to say it. Not because, I mean, I think that he should not necessarily expect that people should not be filming him in public, but she should just take it down. I mean, you gotta co-parent with this person. You really want them to like resent you more than they already do, probably? Again, it seems like a situation where like the path of least resistance seems like, I don't know, like why do you want to fight? You could just do 2 taps and be like, okay, that done. Then you don't have to write out the Reddit post, read 1,000 replies, like just okay, sorry, deleted. Anyway, it's just weird. It's just weird. To me, at least. Am I the asshole for taking my daughter's phone away? I have a daughter who recently turned 11. She has a different dad from the rest of my children. Whenever one of my kids turns 12, I buy them their first phone, which is usually a cheap phone because I don't think a kid needs an expensive phone. It's fairly reasonable so far. She's been complaining recently and asking me to buy her a phone because all her friends have one. I told her she has to wait like her siblings did. So imagine my surprise when she comes home from her dad's and has a phone with her, and not just a cheap phone. I don't know much about phones, but it looked expensive. I was furious, so I took her phone away and told her she's not getting it back till she turns 12. She started to cry and called her dad. Wait a second, the plot thickens. How did she call her dad? I'm going to assume that maybe they have a cordless still. Maybe they have one of those like, hey, if you pay for the internet, we'll give you the home phone for free or something like that. Maybe they got Microsoft Teams. I don't know. I told him he had no right to buy that for her. She should have gotten a cheap phone at her 12th birthday like the rest of her siblings. This is just like, I mean, I know that this one says asshole. I feel like you can't take your kid's phone away when they've been given it as a gift by the other parent. But I definitely feel like the dad, from what we know in this situation, is definitely the asshole. Like, the kid didn't do anything wrong, so for the kid to be punished makes no sense, I think. But you should really, like, lay into the dad. Like, you had an arrangement. Again, I think you know what I'm realizing from like these posts here is like it seems like being divorced is like really fucked up. Things that would normally be like a relatively easy situation, they got this complex layer of like resentment and revenge built on top of it. Like, I feel like it's almost like the inverse of the last situation where I'm like, couldn't the dad just be like a little smarter? No disrespect to him because we don't know anything about him except what he bought for his daughter. But like, if your 11-year-old daughter is like, "Can you get me a phone?" Don't you just shoot like a quick text to your ex-wife and be like, "Hey, she said like she wants a phone. What do you think?" And then like, even if you don't like each other, you gotta like, you're co-parenting. You gotta come to a decision. You don't have to text your ex-wife and be like, "Is it okay if we go to Chipotle for lunch?" But like, the first phone is like, that's kind of a big deal. I don't mean like it's a milestone like getting your driver's license, but I mean it changes your lifestyle in a way that means that both parents should at least like have a say in it. So I don't know. This is, everybody sucks here except the kid. I don't think the kid did anything wrong. It's just stupid. I mean, I don't know. I diagnosed the dad as stupid. You just got to send a text. I don't. I like, a lot of people are laying into him saying like, "Oh, he's trying to be the daughter's preferred parent by buying her a phone when her mom wouldn't let her get a phone." We don't know that, but like, he should just like, I mean, it could be true for the record, but like, we can't just assume that. I think it's also easy to assume that he's just like, had a bit of a brain fart and was like, he maybe he's stressed out or hungry or something. And then his daughter's like, "Can you buy me a phone?" And he's like, "Yeah, whatever. Whatever gets me like an extra 90 minutes of like quiet time. Sure." Like that, there's myriad possible options here, but I definitely think that whether there was ill intent or not, the dad dropped the ball. But you also, I mean, I feel like the moms just kind of got to eat it and be like, "Okay, I guess you're getting your phone before your 12th birthday then." Joe Biden would never buy his kid a phone. He would ask first. Absolutely true, and that's why he's my president. Joe Biden would text first. Joe Biden, before he made a decision like this, would send a text and then write, "Is that okay?" And then if he didn't get a reply in like an hour, he would be like, "Hey, I know like we're not together anymore, but we really need to be on the same page with co-parenting. It's not for us. We have to put our differences aside. It's for the well-being of our daughter. I'm not going to get her a phone today, but you guys can talk about it when you pick her up." And then he would put like 7 emojis of like crossed eyes, tongue sticking out. Because that's how everybody over the age of 60 seems to text. Anyway, just don't understand. Like, again, like it's just making it so complicated, man. I'm also kind of amazed, genuinely, because this is something we're gonna have to deal with at some point. I feel like 12 is almost a little old in the modern era to give your kid a phone. I'm not saying that you should let your kid have unfettered access to a smartphone when they're single digits, but like, to have like a phone that just has like calling and texting for your kid when they go to school, that seems pretty sensible. I mean, yeah, I didn't get a smartphone until I was like 23 or something, but at the same time, the shit didn't exist until I was 21. Like, the world has changed. I can't really put myself in the shoes of a modern 12-year-old. My 8-year-old niece has a flip phone. I mean, I think it makes sense to me. When I taught in Korea, it was 2011, and like first graders had smartphones. But then also they were like riding the subway by themselves and like walking 20 minutes to go to school. So that seems, I mean, they're a little bit more independent at a younger age over there. Mostly, I mean, they live in like, they have public transit, some more walkable cities. But anyway, maybe, yeah, maybe a flip phone or something. I don't know. We'll have to deal with it at some point. Am I the asshole for going to a restaurant she likes, but I don't order food? Please tell me this doesn't end with, it's my girlfriend's birthday. She wanted to go to a fancy restaurant. I don't feel like paying $23 for an entree that's one bite of food. I said, it's fine. I'll just go through the McDonald's drive-thru afterwards. Okay, let's see. I'm just guessing. We were deciding what to eat, and she really wanted to go to this restaurant. I was on board with it, but I'm super picky. I had no idea what this restaurant had. We get there, I look at the menu, nothing looks even semi-good. For example, all of the sandwiches had wheat bread, and I hate wheat. Oh, you hate wheat? But you love bread? Make it make sense. Just impression dash 1843. Make it make sense. I only eat flour that's been bleached before it's been pounded into a dough and baked. Anyway, I let her order her food, and when the lady asked what I want, I told her I wasn't eating. I told my girlfriend I wanted her to enjoy the meal, and I was happy to be there. Okay, the world's most naive man on the planet. Not naive man, I guess, a naive person. Really. But listen, I know we're only on the first paragraph, but like, you also, when you're enjoying a meal together, you can't be like, let them order and then hit them with the says you when it comes turn for you to order. You have to at least be like, hey, just so you know, I'm not like that into anything on this menu, so you can eat, but I'm not going to have something. It'll still be uncomfortable, but I think you should also recognize that, like, that's the better possible situation if you refuse to eat wheat bread, but will only eat white bread. Like, you did it to yourself. I don't know what to tell you. Like, if you're like, that sounded like it would be awkward. Yeah, the whole thing is awkward. You went to an adult restaurant, but you have the palate of a child, apparently, with no disrespect. I'm just calling it like I see it. I told her I wasn't eating. I told my girlfriend I wanted her to enjoy the meal. I was happy to be there. My girlfriend got so mad she got up and left. I left with her and asked what the big deal was. She insists I need to be there eating with her. We ended up going somewhere else together. It irritated me, and am I in the wrong here? Oh no. Here we go. It was some French cafe. I've never been to a French restaurant, but I was willing to check it out. Their menu wasn't very big. I just wanted her to enjoy a nice meal. The first update means you don't understand the situation. Regardless of the kind of restaurant it was, that's very much like on the side of the actual issue. I'm not saying you have to be like, you have to be an adventurous eater, but I know we go into picky eating a lot, okay? When I was like, until I was about 17, I was like the pickiest eater of all time. I didn't like soup. I didn't like rice. It just seems like a lot of, I know it's a Mitch Hedberg joke. It just seems like a lot of work to eat rice. Look at why there's so many of these. Mouth will tell you, we used to go to Subway. I would get a foot-long turkey sandwich on whole wheat bread, cheese, yellow mustard, no toppings at all. Ew, lettuce, ew, onions. Don't even get me started on tomatoes. Then when I got to university, I was like, you know what? It's a good time to take stock. Nobody here knows you. You can reinvent yourself if you want. So one thing I did is like, at age 17, it's a great time for me to get over being a picky eater. Endeavor to eat some new foods, try some cream-based sauces and stuff like that. Because in my head, I could see in the future, and I was like, I don't want this shit happening to me. I don't want to go out, it's my 30th wedding anniversary, and I'm like, can I have I'll take the house pub burger with no toppings and no condiments, and French fries, hold the ketchup on the side. Like, I wanted a wider breadth of experience later in life. So I said, let's start eating some stir fries. Wow, that's tasty. Whoa, who knew red peppers were so delicious? Mushrooms? Not really my scene, but maybe in 15 years. You know what I mean? That's why you got to do it, so you don't end up in the... He created the conflict here. Anyway, sorry. It's one of the best gifts I ever gave to myself. If you eat something and you don't like it, that's fine. But to not eat something new because you don't think you would like it and your palate stays like this small forever. If you got a wide array of foods that are acceptable and then you're like, I don't feel like trying caviar, then okay. But if you're like, I only eat chicken fingers, and someone's like, do you want to try like a grilled cheese? And you're like, I don't know. Then I think you can meet them in the middle, okay? I think you could take a bite at least. What's the worst that can happen? You take a bite and you're like, oh, this isn't the best food I've ever eaten. Like, just get over it. Anyway, sorry. Moving on. There was no waitress. We ordered at the counter and they put the food on our tray. What? It wasn't even like a fancy restaurant? It's like a cafeteria? I thought it was like a sit down restaurant. It was going to be like escargot, frog's legs and stuff like that. But then it's they're at like a Panera. It's pret a manger. Also, we've been together for 10 months, so I don't think there's much to feel awkward about. I have no listen. Okay, this is like way too close to the bone. You know how like there's some crazy men online that are like, I never lose an argument with my girlfriend because if I did, she would lose respect for me. Those people are insane. But there is a little voice in my head that's like, if you don't get over your aversion to whole wheat bread as somebody that eats white bread, she's gonna lose respect for you. It's not about being like an alpha male. It's just about like not being like a little kid with no. I don't. I'm just. If you have a narrow palate, but it's not crazy, like that's one thing. But like to be like, ooh, whole wheat bread on my sandwich, like we gotta you gotta nut up a little bit, I think. Or take it to the extreme and be like, I don't eat any bread. Because they're like the same thing. They're all, and it's, I don't know where they live, but especially like in North America, whole wheat bread, like that you buy at a grocery store, is just like if you closed your eyes, you almost wouldn't be able to tell the difference in taste. There's like a 2% taste difference. And if you think that there's like a 50% taste difference, then I think you're the OP. I'm sorry for constructing this box, which makes it hard for you to argue. It's rhetorically dishonest, but it made my point feel stronger, so I'm glad I said it. Anyway, I have no allergies for the most part. I can usually find something to eat at a restaurant, but I couldn't find something to eat. This was a lunch, not a dinner. Update, I didn't Google the menu beforehand because we've never gone to a restaurant and find something to eat. This was a lunch, not a dinner. Can I say something? I'm losing my mind. I'm losing my mind, okay? The fact that every single one of the updates is just about like some magic bullet solution where like, why didn't you Google the menu beforehand? Why don't you just take some responsibility? I know people were like, why didn't you Google the menu beforehand? You don't have to respond to that. That's like, it's just, why don't you, I don't even know where to go with this one. Like, I mean, if you're, all other things being equal, if you can't find something at a pret-a-manger that you think you could eat, I don't mean that you would love necessarily, but if there's like 10 things on a menu designed to be served to a general population, if you can't find like a single thing, you gotta, like, that's your to-do list for like the next month, is to have like, learn another food that you like so that this doesn't happen again. Maybe learn, you could, there's foods you can get almost anywhere. You can get a Caesar salad almost anywhere. You can get like a soup almost anywhere. You just gotta add like what you can get, maybe like even just a croissant or something like that. That's bread. You just gotta just learn like one or two things that could get you out of the situation, okay? Soup isn't a meal? Yeah, but he literally ate nothing. He ate nothing. That's not a meal either. Could at least like sit down and have a nice dining experience with your partner, and then when you go home and she's like, "I got to go to the bathroom real quick," you open up your fridge and shove like 4 cheese strings in your mouth or something like that. Anyway, so I just learned that all bread is made of wheat, which is not technically true, but I understand your point. It was some type of whole grain or sourdough. What I meant to say is I only like white bread, but brioche buns are good too. See, he's not that picky of an eater. He likes both white bread and brioche. So white bread and white bread plus like triple the eggs and butter in the recipe. Don't say he doesn't have exotic tastes. Update: 10 months into the relationship, and we never went to a place where I couldn't find something to eat. This was the first time that it happened. Also, I do try new things. I'm not stubborn with it, but I'm on your side. I'm not looking for stuff to get mad at. I want to preface this with this: I'm on your side. You are stubborn if you won't eat a whole grain bread or a sourdough bread sandwich. It's not like they're asking you to eat like a whole oyster. If someone's like, I don't want to eat an oyster, I get it. You're eating a whole slimy, salty, kind of like weirdly metallic tasting organism. But if you're like, I want a ham sandwich on white bread, and they're like, we only have whole grain, and you're like, that's too much for me, then you are being stubborn. You're not. That's not a reasonable refusal to have the high ground, to be in the right in this situation. Now, if he said no to Italian herbs and cheese, we would lock him up. We'd put him in prison. Also, I do try new things. I'm not stubborn with it, but usually it's me trying her food because I only order things I know I'll like. I don't like wasting food nor my money. Listen, I know how this sounds, okay? And if you're a picky eater, you're not going to want to hear this. And maybe this is a straw man. Maybe I'm making it up. You might be like a good partner, but I feel like there is a chance that she's just going to leave you for the convenience of being able to eat at a normal restaurant with another person. Like it sounds like this is you ever see the tweet that's like being in a relationship is just asking the other person what you want to eat for dinner every day before you die? Like there's some truth to that. Like it's a ritual that you do every day or at least several times a week. For every meal to be like I got to step on these eggshells because his palate is so narrow. Like that's going to grate on you. It might be okay 10 months in the relationship because you got like blinders on to some extent, but at the same time, like, in 10 years, maybe you're going to have like a bad day, and then she's going to be, plus, I can't take this fucker to any restaurant that doesn't have dinosaur chicken nuggets on the menu, and she might snap. That might be like the straw that broke the camel's back, So I think like it rather than just constantly be like, here's my reasons for this, I just want to see an update that's like, okay, I'm going to work on expanding my palate. So or at least like just pretend, you know? Can't you just get the sandwich, eat half of it, and then struggle through it? And then if she's like, oh, you don't want the rest of your sandwich, you'll be like, no, it's really good. I'm just full. Just tell like a little white lie like that. Because it's not about the meal. It's about the experience. It's about you and your partner doing something together. Would you try a 7-Eleven pizza? Yeah, if Kate was like, I really want a 7-Eleven pizza, I would go pick one up. I mean, there have been restaurants that I've gone to with Kate where I look at the menu and I'm like, I'm not sure anything here is like seems like it would be up my alley. But I was still like, okay, I'll take the maze soba, and then it comes out, and I'm like, oh, at least eat it. I'll give it a try. But we went to Japan. We went to the Konyaku restaurant. I said we looked at a menu consisting exclusively of kanji. And I said, what is any of this? And she said, I don't really know what any of this is, but all of it's konyaku. And I said, send it, sister. Just get whatever you think makes sense. And then, like, these weird, like, jelly triangles came out with some hot mustard on the side. And I ate them. And then she said, what do you think about this? And I said, with all honesty, it's the worst food I've ever eaten in my entire life. It's probably the most disgusting thing I've ever. But I'm glad I did it because, like, not just because, like, I know now that I don't want them, but also because it's like we had a story together that we're like, hey, remember those triangles? It's like 7 years later, I can be like, this isn't great, but at least it's better than those triangles we had in Japan. And you've got like a legacy together. And it's a good anecdote. Did Kate not like them either? I think she didn't detest them as much as I did. I don't think she would order it again. I actively detested the food. I hated everything about it. But I still ate like half of the dish. Just to be like, let's just see, Maybe the first bite just took me unawares, and now that I'm used to it, it tastes familiar. But no, the whole thing was like, it was cursed from the get-go. Listen, I'm not saying you can't be a picky eater. All I'm going to say is, like, again, this is why, if possible, it would be nice to endeavor not to be a picky eater, because it's just going to make your life harder. Like, if you're like, oh, it's so hard to be a picky eater, I can't find any food that I like. I'm like, yeah, I know. Like, that's why, like, I'm not anymore. Like, I know it's not that easy, and some people have genuine reasons for being a picky eater, but like, it does mean if people around you, like close to you, get annoyed by how picky of an eater you are, I think you can't be annoyed that they're annoyed, I guess is what I'm trying to say, because it's annoying. It's the same thing, and this is like not necessarily related to picky eating, but it's the same reason, like, the first few PAXs we went to, we would be like, everyone we know, let's go to a restaurant. And then you realize, like, one person has been walking all day. They have to go to a sit-down restaurant. One person refuses to pay more than $7 for their meal. One person's vegetarian. One person only eats meat, never eats vegetables. One person has never tried Asian food in their life and will never. One person has heard of this restaurant called P.F. Chang's and absolutely has to go there before they die. And you're like, we can't find a place that can fit all of the... Everybody's got one condition. They're like, it's reasonable. It's just one condition. You add up all of those 12 conditions and you're like, we're going to McDonald's because that's the only thing that's available to this, widely diverse group of interests. So instead, now when we go to PAX, we run fucking lean. I'll get a table for two at whatever restaurant it feels like my wife and I would like to eat at the most. And then you guys can spend 3 hours debating where you're going to go for dinner, eventually go to Jimmy John's, and then we'll meet up for board games afterwards. It's just easier to dine in smaller groups because it just opens up a wider array of options, okay? There's picky, and then there's adult who only eats white bread picky. The place had sandwiches, for crying out loud. How much of a surprise could it be that you didn't like anything? If you're that picky, I think the burden is on you to do some research ahead of time. Someone with a food allergy or dietary restrictions would. You're the asshole for showing up unprepared and almost making your girlfriend eat solo. No one likes doing that, and it's kind of rude to the restaurant and waitstaff as well. Immediately vindicated. I love it. Jeepers Creepers 74. The Prime Ministered. You're the asshole. Picky eaters are so exhausting. Sharing a dining experience with them is so limiting and seems like half the time they will want to go to the same limited choices over and over. It's different if someone has dietary restrictions because of medical issues, religion, or they're vegetarian, vegan. Restrictions like this are easy to understand and there's reasoning behind it. Someone just wanting nuggies and hating on wheat bread is a nightmare. Go try something new. This is not what I said. I said you're welcome to be a picky eater. Just don't be surprised when your girlfriend leaves you for someone who isn't afraid of Dijon mustard. That's what I said was way more offensive. Plus, they're not just into chicken nuggets. That's intellectually dishonest. They like both white bread and brioche bread. Brioche, it's a French word. It's continental cuisine. You're the asshole seems like a passive aggressive protest. I mean, that's where I'm at. Like, to let your partner order something and then be like, actually, I'm fine, when you talked about going to lunch together, like that is like you pranked them. You sprung something on them. Now I got to sit there and eat my meal while you're sitting there just like looking at your phone the whole time. Like, I'm going to feel self-conscious like the whole time. That one felt good. That felt like a good one. Am I the asshole for not clapping when my sister sang in her voice class? Well, is it because she was bad? Are you really going to be... Okay, I should probably read the post before I get upset. But, like... I hate when people are... Like, being principled is good if your principles are sane. But just like the post where it's like... You know, the guy's girlfriend was like, do I look fat? And then the guy was like, I think it's immoral to ever tell a lie. So I said, yes. Before I answer this, I just want you to know I don't think any less of you as a person. I think you're a great friend and a great partner. I love spending time with you. That being said, yes, you do look a little fat. But like, being... What's the word that they Silicon Valley CEOs use? Radical honesty. This is like this. People are like, well, we're only supposed to clap when we enjoyed a performance. You realize you're talking about hitting your hands together in a rhythmic fashion to produce noise like a caveman? Get over yourself. Just do the bare minimum to like make them feel better. Just to not get yourself in trouble so this post doesn't have to exist. Anyway. Like, just get over yourself. You're literally just a guy.